the number of districts each state has. Of course, that in turn amounts to the number of legislators that we have. Of course, we have more in the House than we do over in the Senate, but I'm not quite sure how each state comes up with that particular number of districts that will be drawn in each state. Andrew Glasser, who has the show right before mine, I bet he knows the answer to that. He's been in this whole politics business for quite some time, a little long. I love that he says in the opening to his show, a recovering politician. To me, that's perfect. It's a perfect analogy. That's about that's about right. Recovering politician. I'm telling you, so many times I think we've got the right person for the job. They go into the legislature or go in, become elected as a legislator, and we think, "Oh, this guy's gonna be great," or "This girl's gonna be wonderful. This woman's gonna be wonderful. They have a great head on their shoulders. They're not gonna go in and get caught up in all the shenanigans," and so many times, unfortunately, we see it happen. We see them go into the belly of the beast, it seems, and become corrupted with all the power and the shenanigans, and I'm telling you, especially during the legislative session, there are games. There are most certainly games played at our Capitol building. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's tit for tat, and if you want this certain piece of legislation to come out on one side, one chamber really is pushing hard for a certain piece of legislation, then there are going to be deals that are made. There are backdoor conversations that go down. We have a lieutenant governor that a lot of times will hold something over the head of his counterparts over in the other chamber, over in the House, so that he can push his agenda. If you don't allow what he's wanting to get done to come out of the House, then he's going to hold what the House wants up over in the Senate, and vice versa. And unfortunately, what we've seen here in the state of Mississippi for the last several years is that we have the Speaker of the House and a lieutenant governor who can't get along to save their lives. They're not friends. They're not friendly. And if you hear them ever speak about each other, you can hear that in what they have to say. Now, I myself can't blame our speaker, Jason White, for feeling that way about old Gilbert, whatever he's going by today. You know, I think Delbert got really lucky with whoever was pushing his campaign many years ago and came up with this advertisement of the old lady on the park bench, and she can't get his name right, and since that old lady unfortunately has passed away and they had to replace her with, I think, the last commercial they did when he was running for lieutenant governor, they used Vivian Daley, one of the Republican women, to replace the first one that they used. But that advertising has carried him a long way with name recognition and people just knowing who he is. It's truly worked wonders for him. So he should be indebted to whoever was working on one of his first campaigns and came up with this park bench idea of him with the little old lady who can't get his name right to save their lives, because what that did was it really engraved his name into the minds of a lot of voters across the state of Mississippi, and it has worked out well for him. Now, I don't know if we will see Delbert working on any more campaigns. Obviously, this next year will be his last year as lieutenant governor. He will have to move on, whether that is taking his chance at running for governor of the state is still yet to be seen. Now, we have had some people officially announce. We've talked about this a little bit. Andy Gibson, Commissioner of Agriculture, has officially announced. Former Speaker of the House, Philip Gunn, has officially announced. Our Attorney General, Lynn Fitch has officially announced. And there, of course, are other names floating out there that are rumored to be running for governor. I've heard Trent Kelly's name thrown around. I've heard Gerard Gibbert's name thrown around. I have heard Shad White, of course, our state auditor. A lot of people have mentioned that they hope that he makes a run for the highest office in our state, governor of Mississippi. Tommy Duff, who a lot of people know because of his wealth. He and his brother have been very successful. Some of the wealthiest men in the state, if not the wealthiest. And his name has been floating around out there. Of course, Delbert, we've heard that he may make a run for governor. Personally, I think, given his age and his politics, he should make a run for the House. He's got grandchildren, and he should go enjoy them in the time he's got left. None of us live forever. There's one thing that is true about all of us. We are all going to die at some point, and not wishing death on anyone by any means. But he would not most definitely not be my pick when it comes to who should be the next governor of the state of Mississippi. But regardless, it is going to be one to watch. It's going to be one for the record books. And I know a lot of us talked about this a couple months ago at the Neshoba County Fair. We were all talking about how the political stump speeches at next year's Neshoba County Fair are just going to be off the charts because there are so many people rumored to be making a run for governor. Now, I don't know if they will all follow through with that, but we'll see. It's going to be interesting to say the least. I think there's going to be many names on that primary ballot, that primary Republican ballot. So it's going to be fun to watch. And we will, of course, keep you updated here on the Lindsey Beckham Show as we continue to hear names who officially do announce. I want to get your thoughts on this, too. I think this is interesting with so many of our already statewide elected officials choosing to run for higher office. We have the latest announcement, I think, is Sean Tindall, who has confirmed he will be running for Attorney General. You all know how I feel about that. But what do you think about these statewide elected officials campaigning for higher office? I guess you could call it on the government's dime, on taxpayer money, because as they hold a statewide office at the current time, and they're clearly campaigning during normal business hours, are posting to social media, are showing up for media appearances, or speaking to groups, all while still being paid by the government for the official position they're currently in. I guess there's no official laws saying that you cannot do so, but is it ethical? Is it ethical? And what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that they should be allowed to campaign for a higher office while still in office? Or should they have to resign from their position they currently hold in order to campaign full-time for the seat they are seeking? I can see both sides, I guess, because if we had everyone resign that is currently seeking a higher office, I don't know who we would have running the state government at the current time, because there's a whole lot of them out there who have already confirmed that they will be running for higher office. Greg Harper is another one, former Congressman Greg Harper from here in Madison, who I have also heard his name thrown out there for Mississippi's highest elected official, governor of the state. So we'll see. Again, that's going to be interesting. And I'd love to hear from you on what your thoughts are about campaigning while still in office. Again, I can see both sides of it, but that ethical question looms. Should they be allowed to do so? We got to take a break, but y'all stay with us. We are up and running on the stream, YouTube, Facebook, X, and of course, WYAB.com. And of course, always on your FM radio dial 1039. You can hear all of your favorite local show hosts here at WYAB. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back here. This is the Lindsey Beckham Show, 1039 WYAB.
WYAB.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
When it comes to protecting all the things that matter in your world, generations of folks in central Mississippi have trusted Allstate agent Mark Dwyron. Mark knows the right coverage with the right price, helps you feel secure and protected. For decades, Mark's been a trusted agent protecting you against mayhem that is unpredictable. And he's always just a moment away when you need him. Mark Dwyron. For auto, home, life, and more, you're in good hands with Allstate. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
Hey, this is John with MES. That's Mississippi Energy Services. We sell, service, and install all makes and models of home and business generators. One thing that we do different than a lot of other companies is we do all the work ourselves. We don't use subcontractors. We go from the original estimate, the design, to the final product. That way we can control the quality of the job from the beginning to the end. We are online at msenergy.us.
Your world is constantly growing and changing, and VSC Fire and Security makes sure it's protected. For 60 years running, they've been your trusted contractor for the inspection and installation of fire sprinkler, fire alarm, security, life safety, and integrated systems. VSC Fire and Security's Ridgeland office is now offering fire extinguisher and kitchen hood suppression, providing comprehensive solutions, outstanding design, efficient installation, reliable service, and repair. Contact VSC Fire and Security's Ridgeland office, formerly United Piping Incorporated, and get started today.
All Britain's Jewelers.
When love requires a gift, nothing says it better than All Britons. Since 1920, we've been part of your family. From weddings and anniversaries to holidays, we've been there for every special occasion. At All Britons, we value your trust. Every gift, whether large or small, is a reflection of our commitment to quality and excellence. There's a reason we're still Mississippi's foremost diamond merchant. Let us show you why. All Britons Jewelry, 4460 Old Canton Road in Jackson.
All Britain's Jewelers.
Hot temps and bright sunshine means it's the perfect time to take a closer look at Pops Auto Sales in Florence. Pops Auto is loaded with Broncos, Jeeps, Yukons, Tahoes, Expeditions, F-250s, Dualies, 2500s, even a Toyota Sequoia Hybrid. Pop's buying experience will blow the top right off your next ride, which is the perfect time to let your hair blow in the wind. Get zero down with approved credit and a 3-month, 3,000-mile limited powertrain warranty available on all eligible vehicles. Pops Auto Sales, Highway 49 in Florence, and at popsautosalesllc.com.
If you had an accident and had your vehicle repaired at the insurance company preferred shop, you might consider calling Clinton Body Shop to schedule a post-repair inspection. 5 of the last 6 cars we inspected were bought back by the insurer or repair shop due to unsafe repairs. Your family's safety and your investment are at risk. You may have a diminished value claim due to repairs. Did your insurance company mention that? In Clinton and in Richland, we work for you. We take pride in perfection.
From Jacksontown to the radio, this is the Lindsey Beckham Show.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show, live here in the WYAB studios, also streaming live, Facebook, YouTube, and X. I'd love to hear from you today. You can call in to the show, 601-879-0002. You can also text in to the Lindsey Beckham Show text line, 601-879-4648. We also have our online chat that puts all of our streams together in one big place. And sometimes I put it up on the screen, sometimes I don't, depending on how many trolls we have over in there. They like to come out sometimes in the middle of the day during this lunchtime hour. But I see we've got Ricky Gray over there watching. Hey, Ricky, how are you? My good friend, Ricky, who's involved in lots of different, all things Madison, I'll say, all things Madison. If you want to know what's going on in Madison, Ricky can tell you. Jim Temple says you don't have to quit your job when you're interviewing for another job. And if you were running for reelection, you don't have to resign your post. So why would you have to resign your other elected office to run for another office? Well, I guess, Jim, I think it's more than just an interview. You know, when you have a regular 9-to-5 job and you are looking at taking a different job, of course, you don't have to quit the one you've got to go and interview for another one. You're right. But when you're campaigning, that's a lot more time and effort and money spent into something probably during the hours you're on the clock. So I guess if you are just a normal person out in the world and you are looking for another job, you aren't interviewing a year in advance, day in and day out, I guess what my point would be. And is it ethical to do so on taxpayer dime, on the government's watch, while you are in an elected, since you are a seated elected official, and spending that time, your work hours, I guess so to say, auditioning for a different job. So I don't know. I guess that's just an interesting conversation. I looked it up. I couldn't find anything concrete that explicitly says you can't do so. But I think it is interesting. I've seen some people posting about how they don't think it's right, or they find it to be unethical. So I was just wondering what you guys thought, what your opinions are. We are going to get into, well, I say that we may wait and talk Lindsey Clancy another day. They are still getting through the DA, the prosecutors, or Commonwealth, as they call it in Massachusetts, their rebuttal witnesses. They have laid out their initial case. They rested. The defense took the stand, and the defense rested last week. And so now we are going through the Commonwealth's rebuttal witnesses. And it looks as though closing arguments may be as early as tomorrow. I know I've talked about this a good bit. I don't think that this jury will come to a decision quickly. And my prediction stands as it has been from day one. I think we will have a hung jury. There are just too many strong opinions on this case. I don't see how you're ever going to get 12 jurors to agree that she should be sent to prison for the rest of her life. And I also don't think you're going to get 12 jurors to all agree that she should be found guilty due to insanity, which here in Mississippi we call the McNaughton. They have to prove that the person on trial is insane due to the McNaughton standards. They have a different word for it in Massachusetts, and I don't know what that is off the top. I can't remember what that is off the top of my head. But if you haven't been following along, I don't know how you could not heard about this unless you're living under a rock. But Lindsey Clancy is the mom who killed her 3 children, actually strangled them with exercise bands after sending her husband out to pick up something from the pharmacy and pick up some takeout dinner, and then attempted to take her own life. She was not successful. Obviously, she's on trial right now for the death of her 3 children. She is paralyzed from the chest down. She does have use of her arms. Attempted to slit her wrist and her throat, and then fell or jumped or shimmy down, depending on who you are listening to, the second story window of their home out of their bedroom. The husband, Patrick, found her on the ground when he returned home from the pharmacy and picking up their food. And then after calling 911, went down to the basement to check on the children where he found their bodies. Terribly sad, tragic case. Almost seems unbelievable. And when you listen to the trial and you hear not only the Commonwealth's witnesses, but the defense witnesses as well, you learn the amount of medication they had this woman on, these antipsychotic drugs, SSRIs, a multitude of different medications, and they were switching them and adding more and increasing dosage and decreasing dosage. And it I believe, had a direct effect on her mental state. There are no winners in this case, obviously. 3 children lost their lives. 2 families destroyed over the events of that night, and it is extremely sad, but it has caught the attention of the entire nation, and I hope and pray that what justice will look like in this case is being more aware, understanding that the hormonal changes women go through after childbirth are very real, and over medicating can have catastrophic effects on someone who is already in such a vulnerable place, like I believe she was. By all accounts, everyone who has testified has praised the character of Lindsey Clancy, not only just who she was as a human being, but as a mother, saying that she was the best mother. She loved her children dearly. So this is an extremely, extremely sad situation. And again, I don't think it's going to be one that the jury is able to come to an agreement on quickly. I think the jury will be out for quite some time. Over the weekend, Carmelo Anthony was denied a new trial. We started to hear rumblings the end of last week about some text messages, and I'm shocked. I don't know about you, but I am absolutely shocked that these text messages that truly play into or give you a description of his mental state and of his character were not brought out in the initial trial. Now, what they claim is that there was some sort of gentleman's agreement, air quotes here in the studio. I don't quite know what they mean by that, but they were not going to get into the character of the victim or Carmelo. But with this appeal and with them asking for a new trial, these text messages have come to light. So the morning that Austin Metcalf was killed, that Carmelo Anthony stabbed him and took his life, he had sent his girlfriend text messages saying that he wanted to stab and kill someone. I think he had even threatened her. He also told her that once he takes the life of someone, he's going to lick the blood off of the blade of the knife. Very disturbing. And I think this is clearly relevant because hours later, we have a young man whose life is gone at the hands of Carmelo Anthony and his knife. I think that shows premeditation. I think that shows he clearly had the intent. He put it in writing, then shows up at a track meet somewhere he's not supposed to be with a knife and proceeds to take the life of a young man. Now, the request for a new trial was denied, which I think this was a no-brainer here, especially after this new evidence has come to light. I'm honestly shocked that they even went so far as to ask for a new trial, knowing this information. We also found out that he had been sent away to some sort of program for, I guess, troubled teens who cannot keep their hands to themselves. So we're getting more of the backstory on Carmelo Anthony and what his character was, what his life was like. And it just seems as though he was very troubled. And I think it also shows clear premeditation in the death of the murder of Austin Metcalf. John says, in the Netherlands, you get a nurse at home helping the family the first 2 weeks after giving birth. Yeah, a lot of other countries have programs for struggling moms, for moms who've just given birth who are struggling. And I think this is something we cannot continue to ignore on the healthcare side of things here in the United States, that just throwing a bunch of medication at a new mom is not the answer. It's just not the answer. And I think if nothing else comes from this particular case, that's one thing we can know. We just can't. We can't continue to ignore here in the United States of America. We're better than that. And SSRIs don't solve everything for everyone. In fact, they're quite dangerous in a lot of situations. And that's something else that we have seen a lot of here in the US. And it's time that we start recognizing it. We got to take a break. When we get back, I want to talk about this defamation lawsuit. Al Sharpton said to bring it on. And these attorneys said, you got it. He has responded. I want to talk about what the actual lawsuit claims, and then we'll talk about his response, everything that's happening in the Nolan Wells case right after this break when we get back here on 103.9 at WYAB, the Lindsey Beckham Show.
Keep it tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The U.S. announcing it's prepared to slap countries with sanctions if it does business with Iran. U.S. Treasury Scott Bessent says there is no gray area in this conflict.
Let there be no ambiguity as to the position of the United States. An economic engagement of any kind with this murderous regime will expose those responsible to the full reach of American power.
Secretary Bessent, though, did not give a deadline for sanctions to start. The U.S. and Canada locked in a back and forth on tariffs. Canada now says it will put tariffs on American goods starting in September after the U.S. imposed 50% hikes on a variety of Canadian imports. Outside Reno, fire crews are on the front lines of a fast-moving blaze. The Hawk Fire in Nevada has scorched 15,000 acres in a matter of days. Communities in Gary, Indiana are still waiting for power to be restored nearly 2 weeks after severe storms. The utility company estimates all power could be back on within the next day. This is it.
For decades, you've known the name Martin's for good times, great food, and the best live music. Now that's happening at 2 locations, downtown Jackson and Livingston. Check the websites, martinslivingstonms.com and martinsdowntownjxn.com for the many special events and live music lineups. You can chill with friends on the big patio at the Livingston location and enjoy the blue plate lunches and nightly drink specials. Martin's, downtown and Livingston.
My world moves fast. I don't have time to worry about my bank, much less getting there on my lunch break. I just want to check my balance, manage my accounts, and pay Julie back for those concert tickets, ideally before my double mocha half pump is ready. Is that too much to ask from a bank?
Not if you're asking Bank Plus. Our ITM tellers are available 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and our card controls and mobile app keep you in the driver's seat 24/7. Bank Plus is in your corner and right down the street. Learn more at bankplus.net. Member FDIC.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Would you like to get the hell out of your life? If you do, we can help. Listen to life-changing stories of faith from ordinary people. Our guests share how they discovered hope, freedom, and God's amazing grace, and today are living a life of freedom with purpose. The show is called Get the Hell Out of Your Life with your host, Ron Myers. Heard every Saturday morning at 7 and 7:30 right here on 103.9 WYAB. It can also be heard on your favorite podcast platform.
Who said you can have too much of a good thing? Not at Mazda Jackson. With rates as low as 0% with approved credit. Come test drive the all-new, fully redesigned 2026 Mazda CX-5. That's more room for you and your cargo, making the third-generation CX-5 the best yet. Mazda's best-selling SUV also comes with 1-year maintenance included on your new vehicle purchase. Mazda Jackson still specializes in certified pre-owned vehicles with hassle-free trade-in options available. Shop online at MazdaJackson.com. Or visit Mazda Jackson, I-55 Frontage Road.
From Jacksontown to the radio, this is the Lindsey Beckham Show.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show, live here in the WYAB studios, also streaming live, Facebook, YouTube, and X. All right, let's get into this defamation lawsuit. So we heard Al Sharpton say he was not afraid of a defamation lawsuit coming against him. Wonder if he still feels that way. The news was released Friday, and this is coming from Sarah Fields. I know Clay's talked about it a good bit too. But there was a 19-page pre-suit defamation demand. Attorneys go so far as to call Al Sharpton a human circus. I could not agree more. And they threw his own words back at him. They said, "You asked for it, now you got it." So Sarah calls this 19-page pre-suit defamation demand brutal. It's dated August 21st, and it came from attorneys Edward Andrew Palzik and Tyler Cox on behalf of Warren Hudson, Jack Spatalo, and Morgan Seymour. Now, Al Sharpton publicly dared these young men to sue him at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention. He stood on the stage and said, "I want them to sue me first." He then doubled down. I want to depose your son. If you sue, the plaintiffs are deposed. And then he said, let's go to civil court. Any kind of court you want to go to, because you can't make this make sense. And these attorneys said, hold my beer. We gotcha. Sure thing. Here you go. We're happy to grant your wish. Now, I don't know if he thought by saying that it would scare these families and scare these boys. I'm here to tell you, these boys are not scared of a deposition. They have nothing to hide. They did not hurt their friend, as many have claimed, falsely claimed, by the way, which is why it's called defamation. So again, Al, they were happy to grant you your wish. The attorneys warn Sharpton that unless he complies with the demands in the letter, they will immediately be filing suit against you. And since Al Sharpton seemed so excited about the depositions, they threw that right back at him. While we are more than ready for Warren, Jackson, Morgan to sit for their depositions and to tell the truth under oath, we are most looking forward to your deposition. They also said that smearing the reputation of innocent young men mourning the loss of their friend to score cheap political points will prove far easier than explaining yourself under oath. They tell Sharpton that dealing with them will be an altogether different experience than what they describe as his slanderous rampage inside an echo chamber of fawning sycophants. They demand tears into statement Sharpton made on TMZ Live July 14th when he repeatedly pushed a narrative involving Nolan Wells and his 3 white friends, in quotes here. Sharpton claimed that no one comes forward, questioned whether the young men had been interrogated, injected race directly into the discussion, and claimed one of the young men had Nolan's phone and keys, initially denied having them, and later admitted that they did. Now, that is not at all what we have heard from these 3 young men. In fact, we have seen the text messages between Warren Hudson and Christine Wells Wansley, mother of Nolan Wells, where they were very forthcoming and were willing to help with anything she asked them for. Sharpton also said that all of his photos, text messages, everything on the phone had been erased. He then summarized his accusation like this: 2, you lie about whether or not you had the cell phone and the keys, and 3, everything's erased from the cell phone. Well, we have no idea if there is any truthfulness to that whatsoever, because Nolan Wells' family would not turn over the cell phone so that there could be an extraction done on it. The boys' attorneys say the narrative is false, and they don't politely disagree with him. They accuse Sharpton of spewing lie after lie about Warren Jackson Morgan and say his remarks were intended to identify them as criminals, turn them into enemies, endanger them, and subject them to threats, ridicule, and scorn. And then came Sharpton's August 19th online vigil for Nolan. According to this demand, Sharpton used that vigil to again question what the 3 young men knew, when they knew it, and why Nolan's phone and keys were supposedly not immediately handed over. The attorney's description of Sharpton here is savage. They call him a devourer of reputations, accuse him of being unable to resist using what was supposed to be a vigil to launch yet another attack against Nolan's friends. Their words were, "You dishonored Nolan by using a vigil as a platform to smear his best friends. You just cannot help yourself." And of course, in contrary to what Sharpton's claim is that no one comes forward, the attorneys state these young men contacted Nolan's family. We've seen the text messages, contacted the Coast Guard, cooperated with authorities, and returned to Horn Island to search for their missing friend. They also deny that Warren Jackson or Morgan had anything whatsoever to do with Nolan's death. The attorneys accused Sharpton of conducting essentially no meaningful investigation before making these accusations, including failing to even visit Horn Island himself. They compare his alleged conduct to those who prey on gullible and naive, and then they tell him even those hucksters would find his uniquely potent snake venom too much to stomach. And finally, they said to Al Sharpton, "You are a human circus." Now, they back up all of this with fact. And then Al Sharpton had a response later that day, again, August 21st. This was released. Rev. Al Sharpton responds to political litigation against him in the Nolan Wells case. He said this: "I welcome the lawsuit and will have my attorneys be in touch with them to arrange for them to serve me so that we can get in court. I convened a prayer vigil on what would have been Nolan's 19th birthday, and 3 of the young men joined the Zoom, and I asked them to come forward. While I did not know their names, so I did not defame them, we have a right and a duty to raise questions that were raised to me by Nolan's parents. From the onset of this case, I publicly stated that I welcome any litigation that would legally require every person that was with Nolan Wells before his death to be forced to answer questions under oath. Litigation requires depositions, discovery, and a complete examination of the facts. I've been involved in this case for one sole reason: to help Nolan's parents, Christine and Elmore, find the truth in what happened to their beloved son through a transparent and accountable investigation. If a lawsuit is a catalyst for the truth, then it is welcomed, and it will not deter NAN, his organization, or me from continuing to stand with the family in their pursuit of justice." I find it funny that he talks about accountability, because who holds him accountable? Who is going to hold Ben Crump, Al Sharpton, and all of their cronies accountable for the lies and the hatred and division they have caused, and the death threats and doxing of these young men who were Nolan's friends, who have cooperated with the authorities, with the investigation, with law enforcement in every way, shape, and form? Who is going to hold them accountable for attempting to ruin these young men's lives at the time when they're mourning one of their very best friends? This is what they do everywhere they go. They leave destruction. The era of Ben Crumps and Al Sharptons and all the people that take every single word they say as the downright truth, it needs to end. It needs to stop right here. And I think they have finally found some people that are ready and willing to hold their feet to the fire on this, and to make sure that some accountability is had by the end of this investigation. I think they're going to get more than what they bargained for. And as I've said before, I'm here for it. I cannot wait to see it. We got to take our last break. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here to wrap things up on this Monday afternoon here on the Lindsey Beckham Show, 103.9 WYAB. WYAB.
Keep it tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
When it comes to protecting all the things that matter in your world, generations of folks in central Mississippi have trusted Allstate agent Mark Dwyron. Mark knows the right coverage with the right price helps you feel secure and protected. For decades, Mark's been a trusted agent protecting you against mayhem that is unpredictable. And he's always just a moment away when you need him. Mark Dwyron. For auto, home, life, and more, you're in good hands with Allstate. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
Football is back in start phase. Join the Bulldogs as Mississippi State opens the season at home against the ULM Warhawks. Be there for the first kickoff, the first touchdown, and the return of game day at Davis Wade Stadium. Gather your family, bring your cowbell, and help create the home field advantage that only Bulldog fans can deliver. Tickets for Mississippi State versus ULM start at less than $18 and can be purchased at hailstate.com/tickets.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
Detroit-style pizza has its own rules. We learned them, then we made it our own. Johnny's Pizza House's Detroit-style pizza. Deep pan crust, crispy edges, your choice of toppings, then finished with the pizza sauce swirled right on top. Mouthwatering cheesy goodness. Order online at johnnysph.com and build your own Detroit-style pizza. Detroit-style the Johnny's way. Order a taste of Detroit this summer. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice.
Fly into savings at a complete flag source in Jackson. Right now, we are running a massive inventory showroom sale. Transform your outdoor spaces with deep discounts on our huge selection of yard and garden banners, seasonal flags, and decorative hardware. But that's not all. Our showroom is packed with deals on many other items. These deals won't last long. Stop by our Jackson showroom today and upgrade your view for less. That's a complete flag source on I-55 North, Jackson.
Hello, friends and neighbors. This is David Frederick. I'm here to tell you about the latest development here at Frederick Sales and Service in Brandon. In an effort to always bring you the very best brands, I am proud to announce that Frederick Sales and Service is Central Mississippi's newest dealer for Skag zero-turn mowers and products. We have deals on one of the industry's best brands of zero-turn mowers, Skag. You can buy now and pay later because 0% financing is also available at Frederick's. Come see our inventory. We're here serving you for over 3 decades in Brandon since 1993.
From Jacksontown to the radio, this is the Lindsey Beckham Show.
Welcome back into the last minute or so of the Lindsey Beckham Show here on this wet, rainy Monday afternoons, the Monday blues here in central Mississippi. So I hope everybody is staying safe out there, keeping all the back to school germs away. Again, I don't know if it's truly sickness or it's just all the freshly vaccinated kids shedding on my non-vaxxed kids. I'm kidding, sort of. But hope everybody's staying well, staying dry in this rain this afternoon. It's going to be a good week. We're going to say that out loud, put that out there in the universe. I believe it. I've got my Fight the Good Fight shirt on today. As you know, you've heard from Gina Archer over at Archer Farms in Rankin County. They're doing great work out there. Check them out on their website. I'll be right back here tomorrow, same time, same place, and I will see you all then. Have a great day.